A. Forrest, The Art of Persuasion. Hi, I'm Cecilia Ellis Wallin, and I'm going to talk about some tips and techniques for speaking and writing more persuasively. A. Forrest is a good acronym to remember when you are going to write a persuasive text or a persuasive speech, or when you're trying to participate in a debate. A good acronym to remember is the acronym A. Forrest. The acronym A. Forrest is an acronym for alliteration, facts, opinions, rhetorical questions, emotions, statistics, and the rule of three. And these are some of the best techniques to use when you are trying to persuade someone. So, let us look at them. First, we have alliteration. So, what is alliteration? That's like rhyming, but at the beginning of the words. So, if we look at the example I have here, it is a quote from the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, and it reads like this. Hey, don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me, all right? You get a dream. You get to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something? Go get it. Period. So, can you find alliteration somewhere here in this quote? Look here. Go get. This is an example of alliteration. The words go and get, they begin with the same letter, the same sound. Okay, let's look at the second word here, facts. So facts are very useful when you're trying to persuade, and we don't really have an example here in this quote, but if we look at the title of this film, I have taken this quote from the film The Pursuit of Happiness, and this is also a quote from the American Declaration of Independence. And you might remember that in the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson wrote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." So, according to Thomas Jefferson, it is a self-evident fact that all humans have the right not only to life and liberty, but also the right to pursue happiness. The facts you use in your persuasive speech or text must not be facts acknowledged by everyone. You can just decide that they are facts, and if you are convincing enough, they might become facts. Well, in some sense, we could say that this whole quote is now self-evident, at least according to Thomas Jefferson. All humans have the right to pursue happiness. If you want something, go get it, period. According to Thomas Jefferson and the revolutionaries engaged in the Enlightenment movement, this is a self-evident fact. All right, the next word is opinions. So, when you're trying to persuade someone, it is useful to use opinions, and especially expert opinions. So use opinions from experts from the field you're talking about, authorities. It's good to use opinions from researchers, from scholars, from professors, from experts in the field you're talking about, from people your audience admire. The next word is rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions are questions you don't want answered. You are just asking these questions to start the process of thinking in the audience, and of course you will start the process of thinking which will lead the audience to the conclusion you want them to reach. The next word is emotions. It is really useful to use emotions when you are trying to persuade someone. So, you can awaken fear in your audience. Politicians often try to awaken fear in their audience. Vote for me or it will be dangerous to live in this country. But it might be better to use positive feelings. So, try to awaken compassion or happiness or joy. It's much better to use positive feelings than to awaken fear in your audience. So you can try to make the audience feel compassion, for example, for animals if you are trying to persuade them to become vegetarians. The next word is statistics. A way to persuade your audience is to use statistics and numbers. And of course you can lie with statistics and numbers, but you can also use statistics and numbers in a fair way, and then it is very useful when you are trying to persuade. And lastly, we have the rule of 3. So we can see here, if we look again at this quote from the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, can you find an example of where the rule of 3 is used in this monologue? Yes, I can see it here. And we also simultaneously have examples of rhetorical questions here. For example, you got a dream? Here we have the rule of 3, and it is also a rhetorical question. You got a dream, and you want something. Here we have the rule of 3 again, and it is also a rhetorical question. When the father says this to his son, he isn't expecting any answers. When you ask rhetorical questions, you just want to start the process of thinking, which will lead your audience to the conclusion you want them to reach. Well, all right, look at the rule of 3 here. Go get it. These words are grouped in a group of 3 very effectively. And in this quote we also have alliteration, go get. They are beginning with the same sound. So here we have the rule of 3 and alliteration combined. It is very common to combine alliteration and the rule of 3 this way. Another famous example is, of course, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So these are some tips for how to write and speak persuasively. I hope you enjoyed this video. Welcome to subscribe and see you in the next video. Bye!